Hello everyone. It is Wednesday night, time for another Facebook Live. I'm gonna get this shared with my group in case somebody is looking for it there. Sorry I'm a minute late. Facebook decided to not do what it normally does on my phone, so I had to close it out and try again. Technology sometimes is not fun. All right, but we will get started here momentarily. We are playing with the Night of Flight stamp set tonight. So it's moths instead of butterflies, but it's close enough. I had to have it. All right, hang on. We'll get this video shared over to my group page in case somebody's looking there, and then we'll get started. Almost there. Okay. So if you are new to my Facebook Live, I make a card every Wednesday. Come to you live at 7:30 here. Almost every once in a while I have to cancel. I've got, out of town or something else going on. And after the video, I will put on my blog the dimensions of the pieces that I used on this card. So if you want to go recreate this or one similar, you have the dimensions to do that. I also draw for last week's card. So last week we made this card using the Darling Details bundle. And so I will tell you at the end of the video who won that. I'll also show you a few more. And then I had my team meeting last night, so I'll show you the other cards we made with this set in that. But then one of my team members, Carol, showed us how to use the Florist, I think it's called. I'm gonna have to look it up. Die set where you can just make paper flowers. And so I think that's probably what they used on this back cover. Let me just show you that. Well, some of it is, maybe. Some of it is, and some of it is the Daisy set. But I'll show you what we made. She brought some already die cut out for us so that we could play with it. So I'll show you that too at the end. I'm just going to look it up real quick so that I can show you the die set. So you can see, because it's not a bundle with anything else. It's just one of those standalone dies. And sometimes those are easy to miss. I know I've missed them. So let me find it. I think it's called Florist or something. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Oh yeah, Paper Florist. So that's it right there. And these are some more standalone dies. But I don't have that one yet, but it is definitely on my list. All right. So let's get started with this card. So this is the card we made in my team meeting last night. This lovely blue. But we're going to make a different color combination tonight. But I wanted to show you how to make this background. So I saw Kitchen Table Stamper. I'm going to move you up just a little bit so you can get the whole picture of this. So I'm going to be cutting. Kitchen Table Stamper did this background technique. I'm just grabbing a pencil real quick. And I really liked it, and it's an easy thing to do, and you'll get 2 cards out of one cut. So I have 2 pieces, and this is the trick. You have to do this together. And you could use whichever side you wanted. I'm using these sides. So 2 pieces of Designer Series paper that are 4 by 5 1/4. And then you put them together and you put the edge of it right on the where you would cut, so that it's right on the edge there like you had just cut it. And you mark this side. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. Let me scoot up just a little bit. So you mark this side at 1 inch and 4 inches. And you mark this side at 3 inches and 2 inches. All right, so 2 inches and 3 inches, 1 inch and 4 inch. And then you line up your line. So here's my 4-inch, whoops, here's my 3-inch. The trick is you have to keep these pieces of paper together. And since they're designer series paper, there's my 4-inch and there's my 3-inch. So line those up and cut that. And then line your, where's my other one? There it is. Your 1-inch. It may be hard to see the marks, but my 1-inch mark is right there. My 2-inch mark is right there. So line those up and cut. And so, let me get this out of the way. When you're done, I'll move you back down a little bit closer. You have these pieces and they all fit together, which is why you want to do it all at once. But then you just divide them out. So you've got one card that's like that. So those all fit nicely together. And another card that is like this. And it's super easy. And you end up with these really neat backgrounds. Now, for me, it's easier. You don't have to do this. I'm going to keep those together so I know they'll go together. I like to have a piece of cardstock to adhere these to. It's just easier for me instead of trying to adhere them to my card base and getting them lined up and even and everything. So I've got a piece of cardstock, white cards, basic white, that is the 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to use my liquid glue because then that gives me some time to adjust it a little bit if I need to. So just put some liquid glue on there. And put it, whoops, at the top. And if you end up with white on the edge when you're done, then you can just trim it off. Right now I'm going to do this one. And I chose the smaller pattern on this because I knew I wasn't going to have a whole card front. So now just put that right up against your other one. You can see a little bit of white there, so I'm scooting it over like that. And then our last piece. Just put it up right against there. And so I evidently either started too high or my card is a little big, but that's not a problem. Let me just grab my scissors real quick. So I'm just going to cut this off. So you just cut right along that designer series paper. There we go. And there's your background. Now before, I'm going to leave the blue in here so you can kind of see what we're doing. Before we attach this to our card base, we want to wrap our ribbon around it. And so I forgot to measure this beforehand, 15 inches. So I'm using the wild wheat. That's what I'm going to use for my card base. So we're just going to measure out about 15 inches. Doesn't have to be exact. You just want to be sure you have enough to tie around there. So we'll tie that around the middle of our card. And we do want to do it over to the side. We want our knot to be over here to the side. So we have room for our moth on the other side. I have glue on my fingers. There we go. All right, let's trim those off. And while we're messing with this, we'll go ahead and put it on our card base. Like I said, that's Wild Wheat. That's one of the colors in this Designer Series paper. Oops. We'll center that on our Wild Wheat. All right, so we're going to set that aside. We're done with it for the moment. It's time to do our stamping. So I just cut a circle. This is with our, shoot, it's my favorite die set. Let me look, I have it right here. It is Stylish Shapes. Oh, hey, Betty. I just saw that you were watching. It's kind of faint for me to see it on my phone. So this is cut with a Stylish Shape. I'm using this moth, and we're going to stay with the earthy tones. So I'm going to stamp the background or the outline in Early Espresso. Which may look kind of black, but it's really a dark brown. And then we will stamp, let me find, so luckily, I didn't even show you the stamp set. Where did it go? Here it is. This is what the whole thing looks like. Sorry about that. Luckily, they kind of put the little pieces near what they go with. So like that goes with that, that does that. That, I'm not really sure. I think it, oh, it fills in there, I think, maybe. But like this, I don't know that I would have known what those were, but they put it right by this one. So it fills in that little bit. So that's what we're going to do on this one. And we're going to use our Wild Wheat for that. And you have two of them. So you have one that goes each direction. So this is the, let's see if I can do this without being right over it. That's that one. And then here's the other one. This is the left one. There we go, that one's better. And then what should we do our, so I have a sentiment. This time I brought in the Hi Friend. And I'm almost tempted to bring in some of this green. So maybe we'll use Garden Green. Let's try that. So we'll do our little Hi Friend in Garden Green. I'll tie in some of the green from the paper. There we go. All right. Now the other thing I did on this one is I used my blend and colored the body. Excuse me. I don't want to use the Early Espresso to color that because that you would lose a lot of that detail. So I decided to pull in pecan pie, light pecan pie. So we'll just, so I'm kind of doing this on the fly. So I did that, and then I did this little, I did the body, and I did this little bit at the bottom. And you can see that Wild Wheat is lightening up now. After it dries, it lightens up, or all of them lighten up. So then I'm moving all of this out of the way. What I did on this one is I took the, I think it was the Misty Moonlight, and splattered some on there. So I'm going to do the same thing with the pecan pie. This is a Stampin' Write marker, and you can do this by just flicking. So you just put the tip in there and just flick it. But you, whoops, and you can get it all over your finger. But it will go everywhere. So you can see it got all over my paper too. So that's why I moved everything else out of the way, because I do not want I did not want the or the pecan pie on my blue card. All right, and then the last thing I did is on the wings, I put some Wink of Stella. Now, I wish this showed up better on the camera, but it just doesn't. But it makes some very sparkly wings. Sometimes you can get a little hint of it, but yeah, it just doesn't show up. But it makes them very sparkly in person. All right, and then the last thing to do is to put this on our card. So somewhere I have dimensionals. Here they are. They got buried. So I'll put one on the top, one on the bottom. So we straddle that ribbon and just set that right in there. And now we have this fun daisy moth card. So, and this was with the Countryside Inn Designer Series paper, and this is with the daisy, what is this called? Fresh as a Daisy paper. And if you ever are trying to figure out what colors to use in your card, if you're not aware, they list all the colors on the back of the Designer Series paper. So that's always where I start when I'm playing with something new. I'm like, okay, what colors are in the paper? That's what I'll pull out. So you'll have to let me know which one is your favorite. If you like the blue Countryside or the earth tone daisy one. So somebody will win this daisy one next week. I'll draw for that. The one we made last week with the Darling Details, that was won by Khaki. So I will get that to her. And the other cards that we made in class, I have them here. This was one of them. And this was using copper clay, one of the new in colors, and pecan pie, both full strength and stamped off, and the Nested Essentials dies. And then I wanted to do one that was different colors, brighter colors. So this is Daffodil Delight Pumpkin Pie and Melon Mambo. And we just used our blending brush and just added a little color, just stamped that in black and added some color. And then this was the last one, Petal Pink and Cajun Craze was what I stamped it in, and then I colored it with Calypso Coral Blends, and then a little bit of Old Olive accents. So those were the ones that we made at the team meeting last night. And now let me show you these flowers. So these are really fun. We just started with a bunch of die cuts. And we just put, so now I have to put them on a card, which I haven't done yet, or something. So there's some that, and this is meant to be asymmetrical. So that one, we had several leaves, so I can add these with my flowers when I make my card. So several leaves. That was a darker purple, and then here's kind of a two-toned. I think this was Highland Heather, that's Gorgeous Grape, that's Fresh Freesia and Gorgeous Grape. And I think this one was Bubble Bath, and then Lemon Lolly and a Bubble Bath. So you have all these different options for centers. And then this one is so fun. So this, you it die cuts a strip, and then you roll it up and just kind of fluff it, and it makes like a daffodil center. Isn't that fun? So that's going to be like next on my list, I think, because that was really a lot of fun to play with those. Okay, let me move all this out of the way. All right, I think that's it. I just put a Facebook event out for I have card class next Thursday, so a week from tomorrow. We're going to be using, I know, the construction zone. I'm not sure what else we're going to use yet. I've got to get busy on that tomorrow and this weekend. And I will be back next Wednesday, and I will show you something else fun, and we'll see who won this card. All right, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you later. Bye.